Patrick Roy will get the start again in goal, and Roy has been sensational throughout the playoffs. He has a save percentage of 92% in the playoffs, and he's 6-2. The 20-year-old netminder, Mike Liut, gets the start for the Whalers. Steve Weeks has played the better part of the last 3 games. Mike back in action with a 93% save percentage. Both these goaltenders have been very stingy in the playoffs. Of course, Liut playing with that bruise on the inside of his right knee, but he says he's ready to go. The Carbonneau line starts against Ron Francis, Wayne Babbage, and Torrey Robertson. Mike Liut handles the puck for Scott Kleinadorst. He's chased by Carbonneau. Wayne Babbage couldn't get it out. Green gives it back to Wayne Babbage, and the Whalers are on their way. Francis hands to Kleinadorst. He'll play it in. Carbonneau knocks it down, and he'll slide it back to center ice. Kleinadorst goes across to Wolf Samuelson. Roy will let that go as the pass comes around to Wayne Babbage. Robertson runs into Larry Robinson. Now he's tangling with another Canadian in there, Carbonneau. Torrey Robertson trying to keep the play alive. Does so for Ronnie Francis. Francis trying to sneak it in front. It's deflected away by Larry Robinson. Bob Gainey moves it out to Carbonneau. Carbonneau with a long drive and a pad save by Liut. He handles his first chance since he left Game 3 at the 12:02 mark of the first period. Canadiens with a forechecking, but Claude Lemieux didn't see the puck, and Francis does. Gave it up to the Montreal defense to allow for a line change. The puck deflects to Lemieux. Lemieux slides it in. Richer trying to get to it. Samuelson will battle with him in the corner. Ryan Skrudlin in there with Samuelson. They get the sticks up, and we get a whistle with the puck deflected with a high stick, and the face-off will be in the Hartford zone.
Jack Evans sending out Dave Tippett initially on that line change. Now John Anderson comes out to replace him. So we have the Anderson-Dineen-Ferraro line still intact.
Draw comes outside the center, and Dave Babbage makes his appearance.
I was just going to mention that. I saw number 44 out there, so they're going to find out early in this game how well he can go. And I'm sure Montreal are going to really try and put that puck in his corner and really get in and make him handle it, because if he's having any trouble turning with his lateral movement, they're going to feel that they're going to be able to maybe control that puck just by his inability to turn.
Joel Quenneville is checked by Richer, and Lemieux knocked down on the hit by Quenneville. It's kept in by Brian Skrudlin. Shooting pad save by Liut. Dineen there for the rebound. He overskates it. Lemieux trying to tap it out in front. Skrudlin puts it on Richer's stick. Lets the pass go in front, and Skrudlin was well tied up there by Ray Ferraro. It's fired on goal to save by Liut. Eddie stops Skrudlin on the rebound. Covers that loose puck long enough to get a whistle. Now we get some pushing and shoving involving Claude Lemieux and Kevin Dineen. And the linesman Bob Hodges and John D'Amico in the midst of that tussle. Now Quenneville poking at a Canadiens player. It's Brian Skrudlin.
Well, Claude Lemieux
is trying to settle them down.
Claude Lemieux came right through the crease, Rick, after that the whistle went, and ran into Mike Liut. And that's what started at one side. Then it broke out at the other side of the net. But obviously, it's funny, they didn't do that to Weeks in the 2 games he played. But with Liut, they really jammed that crease, and they're really trying to run interference on him. And they start quite early here in this game. Lemieux after the whistle.
18:07 to go, first period, no score here in Game 6.
Teams will play at full strength.
You know, I talked to some of the guys after the game. They were pretty disappointed. I think I talked to them a little bit about getting our defense into the offense a little bit more, them moving up with the play, and I'm sure you'll see the defense moving in a little bit more, getting that fourth man, trying to make an advantage.
Torrey Robertson involved in a big hit with Bob Gainey. And now Chelios is trying to get into the act right at that Whaler bench.
Well, it was a clean check. He just took Gainey as he followed through on him. He just sort of had him pinned halfway over the boards. Nothing to get too upset about. But I expect this will be a very physical game. Both teams are going to finish their checks off, and they're going to do it with a lot of authority.
Well, Torrey's doing his job right now. He's talking to the other bench, trying to get them a little bit riled and trying to get the boys going. And he's good at that.
We'll see it coming up right here. You can see Torrey coming in right now. He just takes Gainey and just follows through on him. Gainey had nowhere else to go, and Roberts' momentum just pushed him right up over the top of the boards.
Larry Robinson throws the puck in as Liut can't hold it up. Tim Bothwell heads for the corner. It's poked free to Evason. He's checked by Shel Dahlin. Dean Evason bounces it off the boards. Turgeon speeds after Mike Lawler. Can't get there in time. That's Naslund with a pass to Dahlin. He's crunched by Gavitt. Bobby Smith deflects it to Naslund. Naslund cutting in. He's checked and pulled down by Dean Evason. And a hooking called will leave the Whalers shorthanded here at the 2:30 mark. No score in the first period. Whalers and Canadiens.
30 seconds into the first period, Dean Evason goes off for hooking. So the Whalers have a big job here. We'll see it coming up right here. You can see Evason getting that stick in, pulling down Mats Naslund.
Canadiens in the power play. 3 of 7 in the 2 games so far in this series in this building. They have had an excellent power play throughout the series. Here's Naslund going out to Chelios. Shooting. Saved by Liut. Naslund leaves it for Lemieux. Back to Mats Naslund. Goes back to Chelios. Whalers with Tippett and Jarvis up front. Samuelson and Clonadorst in the penalty killing unit. The pass in front is deflected by Liut as Naslund was waiting at the doorstep. Naslund goes to Chelios. His pass is tipped by Jarvis and deflected out to center ice with 1:15 remaining on the hooking call to Evason. Clonadorst will sail it down the ice. Canadiens 2 of 3 on Friday night with a man advantage, and they have scored at least a power play goal in every game of the series. Lemieux brings the play in, and it's offside at the Hartford line, and we have an even minute remaining on the Montreal chance.
Well, Montreal off to a quick start here. 6 shots on goal. The Whalers still without one, and they're really testing Mike Liut early. On that power play, they tried to flood the left side, getting everybody working over on that side, and then isolating Mats Naslund just off the other face-off circle. They moved it around, then tried to come quickly across to him, but he wasn't able to control the puck.
Here's Rick Green for the Canadiens. Bounces it in as Clonadorst goes to the corner. Richer hands to Nyland. Goes back to Green. Chris Nyland, who has a power play goal in the series, takes the thump from Clonadorst. Bothwell trying to dig it free. Stephane Richer goes back to Rick Green. Back to the rookie Richer. Dahlin slips it in front to Naslund. He's chased there by Tippett. And a diving play by Bothwell poked it free. Clonadorst trying to sweep it out of the zone. It reaches Jarvis. And he'll backhand it down the ice. 16 seconds remaining on the Evason penalty. Green with the outlet that's stolen by John Anderson. Green regains it. Merzen intercepts the pass. Dineen cuts through there. He's tied up with Naslund. They push at each other as Evason returns. And the Whalers are back to full strength. Naslund starts it in. Can't split the defense. Samuelson angles it out to Dineen. Ferraro hustles in, has the line. Lets the shot go, and it's tipped by Green. Ferraro to Dineen. Has the shot, and it hit the side of the goal. Green around for Dahlin. Whalers still looking for their first shot on net here through the first 5 minutes. And we've got an icing called against the Canadiens. 15:01 remaining in the opening period, and no score, the Whalers and Montreal.
Deflected up high off the glass. Now watch Kevin Dineen. He gets himself in good position. He has time. Everybody goes by him, but he hits the side of the net. The Whalers still looking for shot number 1 here. Patrick Roy certainly hasn't been tested throughout the playoffs. Only once since the Boston series started has he had more than 25 shots on goal against them.
Robertson goes to work against Chelios. Torrey bumped by Carbonneau as Chelios looks for some room against Wayne Babbage. Merzen intercepts, puts it back on Babbage's stick. He had it poked away by Carbonneau. Here comes Chelios. Can't get a shot away. Merzen stays with him well. Francis picks it up. Out on right wing to Wayne Babbage. Big drive is off the leg of Ludwig. Robertson crashes through there as it's rolled toward the net by Francis. Robertson tied up with McPhee. Francis throws it wide of the goal as Platadorst sends it into Wayne Babbage, trying to deflect it to Francis. And it's worked away from the doorstep by Chelios and cleared down the ice. So the Whalers mounting some pressure, still without a shot on net. So they're working well around that Montreal goal with a line of Francis, Babbage, and Robertson.
Well, it's very ironic over the 6-game series, we're early into the 6th game here, how things change. The strategy in Game 1 was Carbonneau trying to shut down the offense of Ronnie Francis. Here in Game 6, Jack Evans is using Ronnie Francis trying to shut down Carbonneau because he's really playing him with a checking line with a Torrey Robertson out there as opposed to with a couple of offensive players.
We look at Jack Evans, and in the background, Jean Perron, the coach of the Canadiens. Jack will use Evason, Gavin, and Turgeon. Mike Lawler. The youngsters played very well for the Canadiens all season long, and he's gained a lot of notice here in the playoffs. This clears the zone as Bothwell comes back. Bothwell watched by Bobby Smith. Puts it on Platador's stick. Sends it by Gavin. Bothwell has it once again. Sails it by Evason's stick. Turgeon charges through. Roy plays it away. It bounces by Gavin. Here's Platador shooting, and it's knocked down by Green. He and Lawler concentrating their efforts on Turgeon as Evason is in forechecking. Bothwell pinching in. Ties up Sheldon. Lawler backhands off the stick of Turgeon out the center. Bothwell pressured by Dahlin. Evason digs it away from Smith and bounces it in toward the net. It's steered away by Roy as Jarvis, Tippett, and McDermott come on for the Whalers. Lawler steers the puck to center. Gave it up to Dave Babbage. Trying to connect with Tippett. Babbage follows up with a play to McDermott. Bounced through his legs, and the puck came in after McDermott for the offside at the Canadiens line.
Well, this period's certainly not going the way the Whalers wanted. They really haven't been able to put any type of pressure. I think going into the game, they wanted to really just throw everything at the Canadiens and test Patrick Roy, but Canadiens certainly expecting that would happen, have been ready for it, and really haven't let the Whalers penetrate their zone very much.
We look at Doug Jarvis, member of 4 Stanley Cup championship teams with the Canadiens. Skrudlin and Ferraro to take the face-off. Montreal controls. They've done well in the draws all through the series as it's backhanded in by Chelios. Lemieux in port. Sails it over the head of Mike Liut. It comes across to Dineen. The outlet to Ferraro. On the wave, it's John Anderson. He's forced back to center, but the play is whistled down to the offside. 12:35 remaining in the first period. Our score, the Whalers nothing, and the Canadiens nothing.
Well, Mike Liut shows right here in this series of play. He's ready to play. He makes the initial save. You can see the second shot by McPhee, and Skrulin goes right by it. He had Liut at his mercy had he been able to pick it up. Take one stride, he had a whole empty net, but he went right over it with a stick. But Liut with 2 big saves earlier.
If Skrulin was a left-hand shot there, I think he definitely would have had it. He went to his backhand and couldn't pick it up.
And there's the battling along the boards after that play. You can see Skrulin. And Ferraro and Dave Babbage getting in with Lemieux.
Good hustle by Skrudlin there. He battled a couple of guys, just lost his glove and everything, kept going.
Randy Busick is on with Richer and Serge Boisvert. Our first look at him of this series as Jarvis wins the draw. Boisvert quickly moving in for the centering pass. Tippett's feed is knocked down by Richer. Rick Green Out for Beauvoir, who had a great playoff last year, 8 points in 12 games. After being called up from Sherbrooke. Tippett sends the pass wide. McDermott jamming the net with Ludwig. Craig Ludwig back for Green. And he sails the pass over the glass and out of play with Jarvis right on him.
Well, with Montreal keying on the offensive players in the Whalers, it's lines like this, Tippett, maybe a McDermott, Dougie Jarvis. They're not seeing a great deal of ice time. Both teams going with 3 lines, but you look for these guys when they are on to maybe just give you a little lift here, even whether it's a McDermott going out and leveling a couple of people. He's shown over the course of the year he's certainly lifted the team on many occasions just by going out with his body checking. The Whalers need a little bit of a spark here right now. They've only had 1 shot on goal, and that was a long one by Dean Evison, just clearing it in to get a line change.
Well, you see how well that Jarvis line forechecks. I mean, they might not score a lot of goals, but they always have pressure on. And just in that case right there, they got on Rick Green. He had to throw it in the crowd. We'll take a face-off in their end anytime.
4-year veteran Craig Ludwig with a pass out for Naslund. He relieves the pressure. Samuelson trying to wait for Gavin to get onside. Did not wait long enough. And that will bring the face-off back into Hartford territory on the intentional offside. Samuelson not too happy about that call. Sports Channel has you covered for Boston Celtics playoff action. Stay tuned to Sports Channel for information regarding our next home Celtics playoff game.
Well, the inability of the Hartford Whalers in the playoffs to really come out and dominate a period has certainly been mystifying. Tonight, with their backs towards the wall, you'd think that with any game that they would come out and they dominate the second period in these series almost as much as Montreal have dominated period number 1.
Long lead pass by Clonador, sails by Jarvis, and Green will touch up for the icing call. Now, the Whalers went through this phase through the first 30 games or so. Had great difficulty in getting a lead early, but they developed an knack for the comeback from 2- and 3-goal deficits that doesn't work certainly in the playoffs. And the team really seemed to solve that problem in March. Rarely were you guys behind, Billy, down the stretch early in a hockey game.
Well, we just had everything going for ourselves in March, and didn't matter who we were playing or what time of the game it was, we were in command.
The Whalers have lost 3 of their last 4 in this series and trying to right themselves here. They've got 1 foot in the frying pan and trying to stay out of the fire, and they need the victory tonight to do it.
Well, you look at the statistic in the 5 previous games, shots on goal. Montreal with a commanding 62-23 edge in period 1. The Whalers almost doubling it in period 2, 52-28. But the thing is, if you're going to have a bad period, don't have it when the score is 0-0. At least have some kind of lead to work on.
Chris Chelios flips the puck in as Clonadors gives chase. Naslund right with him. Clonadors gets it around to Gavin. Shoved to the ice by Bobby Smith, and he will get a cross-checking call. Now Smith trying to take Clonadors to Gavin with him. And the linesman looking to keep the Whalers out of trouble as Myers will send off Smith. 10:56 remaining in a scoreless first period. The Whalers and the Canadiens.
With their first power play opportunity, sent out Ferraro along with Dineen and Anderson, Babich and Ron Francis. I don't know, both those guys hurting in the point, having problems skating. They better be a little defensive. You see it right there, Bobby Smith with the cross check. There wasn't any doubt about that call.
From behind again. Mr. Brave.
Right to the point, Bill Gardner. Ron Francis looking for his first point in the series. Makes the pass to Anderson, who has 5 points against the Canadiens. Around to Dineen, who had a couple of big goals in the 5-3 loss in Game 5. Here's Dineen sending up to Dave Babich. He'll let it go. The puck was on edge. He had trouble controlling it. Francis in for the point to challenge Green. Ferraro digs it free. Rolls it back to Anderson. And Green anticipated that play by Anderson, and he will send the Whalers back. Montreal has been excellent while shorthanded on the road. They've killed 12 of 13 power plays on the road in the playoffs. Here's Ferraro all the way in, surrounded by Canadiens, and it's sent down the ice by Skrudlin. Babbage will go back. Whalers 0 for 7 in the 2 games in this series at the Coliseum thus far. On the power play as Anderson keeps it into Francis to the knee, deflected just wide. McPhee bumped by Ferraro. It's chopped away by Skrudland. Anderson comes back with 47 seconds remaining on the Smith cross-checking call. Here's the pass to Francis. Cutting in against Green. Ferraro takes his spot at the point. They've got Dineen battling in front. Babbage goes to Francis. Ferraro cutting in. Francis fires in front. It's deflected back to Babbage. Lets it go, and a sprawling McPhee blocked it. And he was still able to poke the puck out over the line. 22 seconds remaining on the Hartford power play. Francis drops it for Kevin Dineen. To Francis. He's challenged by Carbonneau. In for the point. It's Babbage, and the pass sails over his stick. Gainey charges back with Carbonneau. Gainey just moves right around Dineen. Lets the shot go. Liut with 2 saves as the net is dislodged. And we get the whistle. 3 seconds remaining on the penalty, and now Dineen and Carbonneau, the 2 most valuable players, if you will, of this series thus far, going at it. And the officials called upon to get in the way of a number of skirmishes here in the first 11 minutes or so, and it looks like coincident minors to Carbonneau and Dineen.
Well, the Whalers got caught with 2 forwards on the point there. Babbage moved in for the shot. It jumped over his stick, and he had Dineen and Francis back on the point. Montreal with a good scoring opportunity. Gainey was off at a bad angle, and the net got dislodged just before Kevin Dineen gave a shot to Guy Carbonneau.
It really wasn't that bad a power play, though. We moved it around pretty well and had some chances, but the puck doing funny things out there. You know, last 2 nights the ice has been covered by boards because of a concert, and that really softens the ice up. And you can tell by the way the puck's been bouncing so far that it's affecting especially the power play.
Well, a pretty fair trade-off. You got Whalers top player in the series, Kevin Dineen, and taking off Montreal. As you can see, Dineen right here comes up with an elbow, and watch the little shot he gives him right here. Bang. It's a good thing he has that glass over his face.
He'll keep his head up from now on.
You know, the thing on the power play can be intimidating. When you see a Mike McPhee come out and block a shot at the point, it's really intimidating for your point man. They got to be careful that they get that puck through, so you'll find out they'll dump it into the corner rather than on the net.
Canadiens are back to full strength as the Smith penalty has expired. Chelios belted by Evason in deep with a pass reaching Dahlin. Smith hands to Robinson. Back to Bobby Smith. Lets the wrist shot go, and a pad save by Liut. Boy, has he been tested off it in this first 11 minutes. Here's the shot that's wide by Naslund. Robinson with the angle. Sails it off a player in front. Tip it is dumped by Smith. Naslund. He'll let it fly, and it's tipped wide by Robinson. Dahlin shovels it in for Smith. Evason right on him. Smith makes his play, though, to Shell Dahlin. And it's taken away finally by Turgeon. Out for Gavin. Planadors follows up. Overskates that puck. And we've got more penalties upcoming here as Smith and Gavin. Evason involved there. And I think Evason and Smith are going to go off. So Bob Myers, the veteran referee, is not going to allow for too much to get out of his reach here in this first period with nearly 12 minutes gone.
Well, Dean Evason's certainly not intimidated by Bobby Smith. He didn't like the collision there and went right after him.
I think it's the opposite way.
You'll see it coming up right here.
Dean's done a very good job on Bobby Smith.
There he gives him a shot right there, and Smith came back with a slash at the end of that play.
With a size differential, it's unbelievable. Smith is just not playing his game.
That's like the toy terrier after the German Shepherd.
Jean Perron told me this morning when Smith is out there, he wants Larry Robinson on the ice. That pretty much dictates how much Robinson plays because of the defensive liabilities of that line. Obviously, they've got the offensive potency. They have 11 points combined in the series thus far, but tells you what they're thinking about. And the Evason line trying to exploit that in this game. Here's McDermott with a shot on goal. It's steered away by Roy, lifted out by Chelios, and next to the Montreal bench in the seats. And McDermott and Chelios, John. We could be in for a long night here, gentlemen.
Well, this should show you how ineffective the Whalers have been offensively. That shot by McDermott, and not a very tough one. was the Whalers' second. Right now, the Montreal Canadiens outshot the Whalers 12-2, and Mike Liut certainly showing this period that he's ready. You see the play coming up. Look at the high stick there on Chelios. That's what started it. That's what you call protecting yourself.
You talked about Robinson, how much ice time he gets. You know how he's just saying there how he's on with Bobby Smith all the time, but he's also on with Carbonneau because they try to get him on with Carbonneau's line when they're checking the top line, so he's double shifting all the time.
Dana Merzen has the shot, and it's kicked out by Roy. Samuelson keeps it in, and he sends it just over the glass. As Roy facing another long shot, they felt that part of his trouble earlier in the season was on long shots, but when you've got time to look at just one shot, have plenty of room to see it, it's not that difficult.
Well, gentlemen, the New York Rangers have gone out in front of the Washington Capitals. Pierre LaRouche with goal number 7 from Mike Ridley and Melnick at 12:36 of the first period. So the Rangers showing signs that they want to win that series, clinch it at home, and not have to go back to Washington another time.
Jarvis hustles in there. He's pinned against the boards by Ludwig. Skrudland tied up by Tippett. McPhee out for Lemieux. Very physical line on for the Canadiens. Now Skrudland is dumped by Tippett. Jarvis rolls it in. Roy pokes it out of McDermott's reach. Jarvis there for it. Couldn't center against Skrudland. Tippett throws it in front. McDermott couldn't connect as he cruised right through that goal crease. Claude Lemieux gave it up to Ulf Samuelsson. He finds Tippett. Lemieux catches up to him. Tippett hangs in there and gets the job done by dumping it in so Ferraro's line can get on. Dave Babbage angles it to Ferraro. He hands it to Torrey Robertson. Charges through against Ludwig. Ludwig tried to tie him up. Ferraro goes back to Wayne Babbage. He lets it go. Pad save by Roy on that scorching drive by Wayne Babbage. Robertson rolls it into Wayne Babbage. Back to Ferraro. Couldn't center against Rick Green. Wayne Babbage drops it back to Dave. He lets it go. It's blocked by Ludwig. Taken by Wayne Babbage. Saved by Roy. The rebound is carried wide. And we get a whistle as Ludwig is down after blocking that shot. It looked like in the midsection, and he will be attended to by the Montreal training staff with 6:22 remaining in the opening period. The Whalers and the Canadiens are still scoreless.
Well, the Whalers' best scoring opportunity to date, 5 shots on goal. Their 5th shot by Wayne Babbage. You see the play coming up. There's where the shot was blocked. Now you'll see it comes loose. Watch Babbage. He has some time, but he tries to go to the short side. Patrick Roy right there to close the door.
You see Ludwig there. He was going to clear that, and he seen Torrey Robertson coming. And he just ducked, gave the puck right to Babbage. Had a great scoring opportunity. They're the ones you got to put in.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Hartford Whalers and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Hartford Whalers and Sports Channel is prohibited. Announcers on this broadcast are selected and approved by the Hartford Whalers. Ron Francis is out between John Anderson and Kevin Dineen. Reunited here with Dave Babbage and Joel Quenneville at the blue line. Carbonneau wins the faceoff to Robinson. Back to Chelios. Anderson in on him. Good pressure. Francis is bumped by Carbonneau. The puck rolls to Robinson. Dineen's there waiting for him at the side of the goal. And we get the whistle as one post has been moved off the magnet on that collision between Robinson and Dineen. And they've been going at it all series long. They've had a nice little feud carrying on.
But basically, it's been hard hits and hard checks, but it's both players, you know, they're showing the obvious respect for each other's talents. They're playing it hard and tough, but for most parts, it's been pretty clean. There has been no cheap shots, other than maybe Kevin taking that wild swing the other night could have decapitated Larry Robinson.
He was just a little frustrated at the way things went, particularly with that Lawler goal hitting him, and he was 3 or 4 feet to the side of the net as it banked off him and into the goal, and the Canadiens kept a 2-goal lead at that point. Carbonneau rolls the puck in front. Ronnie Francis right there for it. Whalers come back. Francis swings away from Nyland, makes his play to Robertson. On the wave, it's Wayne Babbage. Goes back to Torrey. In behind of Francis. He's pinned by Robinson. Wayne Babbage trying to move it out in front. He's checked by Carbonneau. The puck rolls to Chris Chelios. Out to Bob Gainey. 5.5 to go. Scoreless first period. Canadiens have outshot the Whalers 11-5. And now we get a Canadien sliding into the net. It's Chris Nyland.
Not a fan favorite here in Hartford, as Torrey Robertson's not a fan favorite in Montreal. We have another look at it. You can see the puck going behind the net. Nyland loses his balance. He was trying to change direction, trying to come around to the other side of the net. His legs look like a wishbone there, the way they spread out.
It's one of those instances where you always blame the trainer. My skates aren't sharp enough.
Well, you can easily pull a groin in a situation like that because your legs are spread out and you don't know which way you're going to go when you're falling forward. And it's very easy to pull a groin muscle.
Well, you can see in front of you is twine, and it's rapidly approaching. It's like a kamikaze pilot diving into that net.
Better than seeing the post coming at you.
Yeah, the one good thing you know when you hit it, it's going to move. It's not a stationary target like it used to be.
Jarvis on for that draw against Randy Busick. Whalers control it. Kleinador sends it back to the Canadiens defense. Green with a lead for Boisvert. It's read by Bothwell, and the Canadiens have to reorganize. Now Bothwell chips it inside the line, and Mike Lawler handles it. Serge Boisvert tips it to center. Bothwell goes across to Kleinadorst. He's watched by young Randy Busick. Bothwell ahead to tip it. Dumps it in. Jarvis will get in there with Green. It's centered for McDermott. Tipped wide, and he flies over Roy. Both appear to be all right. McDermott has found a home in that Montreal crease in the first period. Nice play by Kleinadorst to keep McPhee from maneuvering out in front. Boisvert takes the hit. As Skrudlin is in there digging with Jarvis, McDermott storms through there. It's thrown in front, and Tippett controls it. He'll send the Canadiens back. Ferraro hops over the boards. Dineen is with him. And so is John Anderson. As Skrudlin caught up to by Dineen and dumped, but Skrudlin is able to roll the puck in behind the Hartford net. Merzen overskates it, finally recovers. Skrudlin takes it away. Skrudlin trying to bump in back of that goal as Merzen takes it from him. Rolls it back to center ice. Larry Robinson. Gave it up to Merzen, and he plays it into that Canadiens bench out of play. Join the Whalers on their Caribbean cruise coming up this July. Dana Merzen, Kevin Dineen, Emil Francis, Stu Gavin, and Sylvain Turgeon will be on board with you. You can enjoy private parties, a coach's clinic, hockey trivia games, and a chance to dine with a Whaler of your choice. All for $1,280 per person. For reservations, call Cynthia at Connecticut Travel, 1-800-382-6558.
Well, that last rush was an example of what the Whalers should do more of. It was dumped in. Dougie Jarvis won the race for the puck, threw it across in front. Paul McDermott almost deflected one home. The Montreal defense are playing the puck and moving it so well out of their own zone, standing up on the Whalers so well that really you're not going to make any fancy plays. It's going to be something like that, in off the corner board and win the race for the puck and have somebody head for the net.
Now Tippett steps in on left wing with Francis and Wayne Babbage against Kordic, as Perron thought Robertson was going to be out there. Gainey is checked by Francis. Wayne Babbage lets it go, and his shot is blocked by Robinson. The puck rolls to the rookie John Kordic. 1980 draft pick. Bounces it in, and Samuelson has Carbonneau right on him. The pass caroms to Francis. He'll sweep it in that Montreal zone. Robertson is now on. Storms in there against Larry Robinson. Puck is chopped away by Nyland. Recovered by Ulf Samuelson. Ahead for Robertson. Deflects to Gainey. And Carbonneau is trapped inside the line in a collision with Samuelson. Bob Hodges there for the offside call.
Well, a nifty little pass to himself by Ronnie Francis at center ice. He lost the puck a bit. And he just flipped it through his legs and then spun around, picked it up the other way, and dumped it in.
Billy, it seems when so we'll get a chance to see this play.
Look at that.
Nice pirouette.
If he had scored, would that have been Francis from Francis?
I think Gretzky might have a few of those. Maybe that's how he gets 215 points.
Didn't have enough of them last night.
Icing the call against the Whalers. And Billy, it seems like when it's time to go back to basics, dumping in, as Blackie pointed out, Jack Evans usually turns to that Jarvis line, and they certainly can get the job done.
Well, I said that before. They really don't have a lot of scoring, but they really get the guys wound up by showing them how to forecheck. It's basic stuff. McDermott's unbelievable. He gets in there. He just loves to throw the body around. Dave Tippett's great, too. He really moves in there hard, picks up the loose pucks, and Dougie's in the front. It's just, simple things that win you hockey games, especially in playoffs when it's tight checking.
Dean Evison clears the zone. Green waits for the forwards to get onside. Passes to Ludwig, who is recovered and back in action after blocking that shot a few minutes ago. Tim Bothwell rolls the puck to Scott Cladadorst to head for Gavin. Ludwig trying to hem the Whalers into their own end. Late in the first period with no score. 2:43 to go. Evison swings away from Naslund. Dean Evison. And the play whistled on the offside as he was making his move at the blue line.
Sort of kills your momentum there a little bit. We're starting to move out.
You're talking about Paul McDermott. He plays the game like there's no puck in the ice. The main object of the game is to knock down anything in a red jersey. Dean Evison, who's been a pleasant surprise for the Whalers this year, called up with injuries and just never ever went back.
Of course, he didn't play much, being called up in early December as far as comparing him with other rookies, but if you counted points per game on the average, he ended up 4th in rookie scoring in that department. So very impressive showing for young Dean Evison as Samuelson flips the puck into the Montreal zone. Chelios takes a look. Here comes Robertson on him. Larry Robinson gets it away for the point. Quenneville shoots. It's blocked by Carbonneau. The puck carries all the way back. Liut strays 30 feet to play it away. Robertson rolls it to Babbitt. Knocked free by Robinson. Here comes Carbonneau swinging in. Cuts around Quenneville. Save by Liut. The rebound by Nyland and a save by Liut. Just got enough of that one. Chelios shooting. And it's wide. Robinson at the point fires, and he sails it over top of the goal with 2 minutes to go. Carbonneau to Gainey, and his shot is blocked by Ulf Samuelson. Robertson will clear. There's no icing. Mike Liut has come up with a tremendous first period here. You'd never know he was injured. Gainey dumps it in. Skrudlin races for the puck. Bothwell ties him up. Turgeon moves it out to Gavin. Gavin to Clonadorst. In for Evison to Gavin off the end of his stick. Croix controls it at the side for Chelios. And the Canadiens move it back with 1.5 minutes to go. First period. Lemieux in for checking Bothwell. His long lead hopped over Gavin's stick. Comes to Ludwig. Over for Mike Lawler. He'll take an icing call here with 1:13 remaining in the period. Now Lemieux dumped Bothwell away from the puck, and the Whalers don't take too kindly to that.
I was going to say, this period hasn't really been too successful for the Whalers. It's more or less been the same sort of thing. But the play of Mike Liut alone should spur them on. He's kept them in this first period. Here's the save now. Carbonneau made some great nifty moves, again being a nemesis. Good shot on net. Rebound came back out. Nyland had a great opportunity. Mike came up big again, but that's the thing that might get the Whalers over the hump tonight, with him shutting them down so early in the game that it could bring the Whalers to life. And with them having a pretty sporadic first period, that's the kind of thing usually pulls the team together.
Reminds you of game 1 of this series at the Forum when the Whalers got off to a rocky start. Were outshot something like 14-4 and came up with a 4-1 win with 3 goals in the second period. And certainly you can't forget game 1 of the Quebec series. In the first 10 minutes, when the Nordiques were storming, had a 1-0 lead, but Evison tied it before the intermission, and the Whalers went on to control the entire series from there.
I think the thing to look at now is how will the Montreal Canadiens come out in the second period, where they've been the team that sort of sat back and lost some momentum. So it depends on how they want to play. I mean, they've got a chance to wrap it up tonight, and I don't think they'll let down tonight. I think it's going to be a good 60-minute game tonight.
1:04 is the correct time on the clock, so they have adjusted the scoreboard clocks here. Bob Myers making that note to both of the benches. Well, the Whalers talking about their excellence in the second period. Really, they have outscored their opposition by 27 goals in the regular season, and they've carried it on here in this series. 6-3 the edge over Montreal in the second. And that's been Jean Perron's concern, how his club has played in the second period. We've still got a minute to go here in the first, though. Here comes Bobby Smith. He is checked by Samuelson. Anderson goes to Samuelson. Back to John Anderson. McPhee comes back to tie him up. Lawler with a hit, but Anderson reorganizes to Joel Quenneville. He fanned his pass. It's carried in by Naslund. Shooting save, alley-oop. And he covered it long enough for a whistle. Now we get everybody jumping in the pile. Dineen and Samuelson trying to jump on McPhee, who was intervening between Quenneville and Naslund. And we've got Smith and John Anderson holding each other out of there.
Well, I think we're going to see this all night, because anytime a period like this again has happened, I think the Whalers want to, make sure that they know that they're in the game. They want to tell the Canadians again that they are in the game, so they can feel the presence of the Whalers. A tough period. There was just some miscommunication on the pass, and Montreal had another good scoring opportunity. When you're down, there's a lot of pressure on you when you know you have to win the game, and you try doing a little too much instead of playing your basic game. And some of the passes are a little off, and you're looking for other people at wrong times. And Montreal really doesn't have a lot of pressure on them, and they've taken advantage of a couple of bad mistakes.
Now we got Ludwig and Samuelson jawing.
They got to get some good music for this.
Little ballroom dancing music, perhaps. John D'Amico and Bob Hodges, who worked Game 5 at the Forum. They've got to feel like they've worked an entire game in this first period alone. It looks like Quenneville and McPhee will be among the penalized. I don't know if they're going to see anything more. Samuelson wants to play a leapfrog, and Kevin's not going to be left out of things. Naslund's buried under that pileup that began with the tussle between Naslund and Quenneville.
WrestleMania.
Roughing minors to McPhee and Quenneville. Coincident minors here with 33 seconds to go in the opening period. Blackie will be visiting with Guy Carbonneau, who's really been the individual story of this series on the Montreal side. That coming up during the intermission. Dave Douglas will have a sports update for you. We'll have highlights. Well, plenty of interesting items up ahead, so stay with us. No score in this game in the closing moments of period one. Ludwig drives it in. Turgeon waits along the boards, and he deflects it out. Evison trying to pressure that Montreal defense. Ludwig will just send it right back in. 19 seconds to go as Bothwell sets up. Hands to Kleinadouris. He deflects it ahead to Gavin. Shovels it in with 7 seconds remaining, and we get another offside whistle.
I said earlier in the telecast that this could be sort of like a moral victory, having Liu come up big and us not playing well in the first period. But on the other hand, Montreal probably thinking the same thing. Going into the second period, 0-0. They thought tonight the Whalers would come out banging and with a lot of offensive threats, but it hasn't been that way. So I'm sure they're feeling pretty happy to go into the second period at a 0-0 tie too, because as we stated, it was so important for us to come out big tonight, and we just didn't do it again. So I'm sure Montreal are thinking, well, we got the second and third period to get our goals.
Outside of a couple of occasions where McDermott zeroed in on Roy, they have certainly continued to protect him well and keep all the shots at a distance. The Whalers with a total of 5 shots. Here as we hear the horn to end the first period of play at the Civic Center Coliseum. And the Whalers and Canadiens scoreless at the end of one, despite the fact that Montreal has the edge in shots, 14-5.
Not really. You know, I'm surprised. I'm sure he's feeling a lot of pain. I'm sure tonight after the game he'll feel it a lot more. But he really had no indication. I thought he played a great period. And what I seen in practice, I'm very surprised because I thought he was still a little tender, but he sure showed me a lot.
As we start the second period, McPhee and Quenneville still in the box for coincident minor penalties with no score. Chris Chelios blasted by Robertson. It will also tumble to the ice, and Francis checked by Chelios. The Canadiens work it out. Bob Gainey gives to Robinson. Fires in front to Nyland, who looked to be offside, and the pass didn't reach him. Chelios gives it back to Larry Robinson. Ahead for Nyland. His pass is poked away by Ulf Samuelsson. Nyland comes over to give Samuelsson a run. Kleinador steps ahead. His pass is intercepted by Carboneau to Gainey. He's hooked by Kleinador to Samuelsson. Wheels out of his own end. Rink wide to Wayne Babbitt. Big shot. Saved by Roy. Trapped it against his chest. He started looking over his shoulder. He wasn't sure he had it.
Well, the Whalers got to start shooting from everywhere. Here they were once again, 5 shots on goal in the first period. They got out of it with no goals against. Here's a shot by Babbitt. He does have a big shot, the high-rising slap shot, no screen on it. So if you scored from there, you'd have to really question the goaltender. But still, you have to make them work. And if the Whalers have learned anything out of that first period, they can't try and make fancy plays. They've just got to dump it in and just get in there as quick as they can and grind some bodies and hope to control the puck and get it back out in front, because Montreal stand up so well. They're just playing the body at the blue line.
Ferraro and Skrudlin on that draw, and they'll do it again as we had movement from the rim of the circle.
I think you got to keep the puck low too. We know, and as you talked to Ray Ferraro before the game, you know, we know he has a great glove and he's good up high. We got to keep it on the ice, so he is a little shaky with the pads, and he kicks the rebounds out, and that's where he's suspect, and we haven't been doing that at all. We're not getting in for the rebound because we haven't had any real good rebound chances.
It's a lot easier to move your hands and your feet, especially with that weight on your pads to have to kick out with your foot. You're a lot slower reacting.
The crowd here wants Whaler Mania to continue for at least another couple of weeks, and the Whalers want a 4th of 7th game. Bockwell has checked. Skrudlin had it poked away by Dave Babbitt. Out comes John Anderson. Kevin Dineen with 3 goals in this series, including the overtime game winner here in Game 4. Anderson goes to Dave Babbitt. Back to Anderson, trying to fight off the check of Ludwig. Hands it to Dave Babbitt. She had it poked free, and Green will give chase. Dineen trying to line him up. Canadiens move it out. Claude Lemieux, long drive from center, is well wide of Mike Liut. Robinson just off the Montreal bench gives to Stephane Richer, and we'll get the stoppage in play. And a penalty, I believe, for too many men on the ice against the Montreal Canadiens. John D'Amico and Bob Hodges conferring, I should say, to Bob Myers, John Anderson over there, and I think that's what we're going to see, a penalty against Montreal. 18:25 to go, second period, and no score. Centering pass by Smith is dug away by Turgeon. Quenneville and McPhee have finished serving their coincident minor penalties. Evison with good pressure. Gavin on the backhand. Patiently waits for Turgeon. He had it poked away by Larry Robinson. Out on left wing for Naslund. Back to Robinson. Samuelsson bumps him. Evison came across. Robinson gets it out ahead for Bobby Smith. He wheels around Evison. Naslund in front. Shooting it blocked by Kleinador. Cleared by Evison. Gavin trying to work down the boards around Big Bird Larry Robinson. Couldn't get by him. Chelios out for Dahlin to Smith. Smith surrounded by Whalers. His drop pass is taken at center by Larry Robinson. He finds Dahlin cutting through. Can't turn on Kleinador. Kleinador just muscles him to the boards, kicks the puck free, but Chelios sends it into Busick. He's tied up by Jarvis. Dahlin to Mike McPhee. McDermott, good match for size and strength there. Jarvis pokes it free, sneaks it to Tippett. Ulf Samuelsson steps ahead on the offensive. Jarvis will go into forecheck against Chelios. Tippett waits for the pass out. He's slammed into the boards by Busick. The Canadiens send it out, and Bothwell chopped it right to Mike McPhee. Quenneville knocks down the pass, allowing Bothwell time to send it out to Tippett. His drive is off the leg of Chelios. Wayne Babbage just off the Whaler bench with some pressure. Gives to Francis. Save! Wayne Babbage sends it wide. Best chance of the game for Ronnie Francis as it's Mike McPhee back for the Canadiens. Puts the feet in Boisvert. Stick backhander kicked out by Liut. Poked away by Bothwell. Mike Liut, another big save. Lawler gave it up to Robertson. Cross ice to Francis. Can't get the shot away as Skrudland checks him from behind. McPhee angles it out. It's one-on-one. The speedy Serge Boisvert shooting. And it's deflected into the crowd by Scott Kleinadorf. Now we get Robertson and Skrudland jamming in behind.
Well, Whaler's best chance there. Babbage made the play out to Ron Francis, who had a better angle. You see Babbage breaking off the boards. A nice play out to Francis. He goes back against the grain. He has Roy coming off the post. You can see him moving, but he just keeps that glove out behind, and then Babbage falling up in the play, just unable to control a rebound.
We look at 20-year-old Roy, who was the star of the Sherbrooke Canadiens at this time last year in the Calder Cup playoffs, jumping out of Granby in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League to step right into playoff competition in the pros. And he has certainly stepped into Stanley Cup competition in fine shape, with a goals against mark of an even 2 and 6 and 2 in 8 appearances. Kleinadorf clears that zone. Green will just dump it in. Skrudland trying to maneuver his way through the defense. Got tangled up with Dave Babbage. Cutting in front. Lemieux with a shot. A save by Liut. And he covers it. Billy looking at Liut. I think more than ever he's realized he's got to stay up, or that knee isn't going to hold up for him.
Well, that's the problem. It's the inside knee, and Mike does like to go down that butterfly style, so every time he goes down, I'm sure he's feeling that pain. And he's a big man. He can cover a lot of net by standing up, and I'm sure as we see it coming up here, but I'm sure he knows his job out there, and he's doing a fine job at it.
You can see the play right here. Lemieux coming around. You can see Liut just bends that one leg, keeps the other one straight. But what's happening right now, Montreal is starting to use their superior size along the boards, and they're starting to win the battles, overpowering the Whalers in one-on-one situations and controlling the puck. And that's what happened there. Montreal winning 2 battles. Finally, Lemieux coming up with the puck and getting the shot.
Well, that's Skrudland line for being rookies. They sure play well and forecheck well, just like we should be doing. They threw it in there and went after it and got it.
Wayne Babbage having a disagreement with Bob Myers, and Ronnie Francis, as captain, will intervene as to how they're going to align on this faceoff. You talk about goalies learning to stand up. Heard a story about Eddie Shore. The late Eddie Shore in Springfield, he taught his goalies to stand up by tying rope around their shoulders and also to the crossbar, and they just couldn't go down.
If they went down, they'd probably hang themselves.
Mike Lawler for the Canadiens rolled it into Chris Nyland. Jarvis takes over. Angles it off the boards. Wayne Babbage trying to pry it free, but the Canadiens recover with Mike Lawler. And it's sailed out of play into the Hartford bench. 15:24 remaining in the second period. No score. The Whalers and Montreal.
We already had him.
Sweeps it to Robertson. Carbonneau somehow snuck in there, and he caught up to Torrey Robertson. Samuelson in a race with Bob Gainey. Liut steers the puck away to Merzen. Robertson had it chopped away by Gainey, or by Carbonneau. Carbonneau cuts in front, and he sends it just wide. Chris Nyland looking for the point man, but Wayne Babbage sends it out the center, and Chelios covers up. He hands to Chris Nyland. Robinson will skate it right up the middle and lift it in, knocked down by Samuelson. Canadiens want to get the change going. Chelios will try again, and he sails it in offside with Carbonneau trapped inside that line. If there is a 7th game, it will be at the Forum in Montreal on Tuesday night. We'll have the coverage here on Sports Channel. Game time 7:35. We'll have the pregame show with Dave at 7 p.m. The Whalers trying to force that 7th game. They took game 1, and the Canadiens have won 3 of 4 since. Naslund throws it back to Robinson. Kleinadorst carries it back in against Naslund. Robinson leaves it. Now Evason steals, throws it in front. Kleinadorst was in deep in the offensive zone. Didn't look for the pass as he was just worried about getting back to his position. Liu plays the puck away, and we get John Kordic sliding into the net and moving the post off the magnet. Apparently he's all right. 14:01 to go in the second period. Whalers and Canadiens, no score. .14:01 to go in the second period as the faceoff is controlled by Smith. Larry Robinson rolls it in. Dean Evason, who has played a strong game for the Whalers, particularly in the forechecking department, trying to get the attack organized. He's on with Gavin and Turgeon. His pass intercepted by Chelios. Across to Larry Robinson. Robinson's outlet stolen by Kleinadorst. Gavin was trapped inside that line offside as Smith comes by and tries to take a shot at Evason again. They've gone off for minors already in this game.
Well, we played 26.5 minutes of hockey, and the Whalers certainly have only had 2 real good scoring opportunities, that by Wayne Babbage in the first and Ronnie Francis. And I think they got to start trying to get some other people in the lineup. As we see Dean Evason just flip Bobby Smith's stick away on him. You know, I think you got to start thinking about maybe juggling your lines a little bit here. You got Davey Tippett, who's seen very little ice time, and he's a hard-working, inspirational type guy. You might have to find a little ice time out there for him. And Paul McDermott has many times over the course of the year really got that team going by banging some bodies. They don't necessarily have to play with the checking line. You could shift them out there with somebody else.
Larry Robinson steps around Torrey Robertson, but Francis taps the puck away to Torrey. Regained by Carbonneau. Now Robertson gets a hold of it. Back across to Dave Babbitt. Dave Babbitt, who's maneuvered pretty well despite the sore hip muscles. And we get the whistle for the offside.
The thing with Dave Babbitt, he moves that puck so well, so I'm sure he's going to compensate a little bit for his lack of speed and mobility just by head-manning the puck.
You look at Wayne, he's had a tough series, looking for his first goal of the playoffs, and particularly in Game 5 did he have some great chances, but when you're hot, you're hot. When you're not, you're not.
Yeah, I think one of the problems is Jack Evans wants to get Ronnie Francis and Torrey and Wayne against Carbonneau's line, and Carbonneau's line plays every second and third shift, so they're out there all the time, so that's why that line is out there against them.
Roy tees it up for Green. Lemieux runs into Quenneville. That's allowed Ferraro to keep it in, but the Canadiens come back. Richer sweeps it ahead, and it's by Lemieux. Quenneville runs him into the boards, and Lemieux goes down. Got his helmet shoved into the glass by Quenneville there. Grudlin pokes it in for Lemieux. Lemieux in front. Shoots, and it's blocked. Quenneville got a piece of it, and Lemieux again with a shot that just trickled wide. Anderson looks to come out against Grudlin. Dave Babbitt fires it into Montreal ice. He takes the hit from Lemieux as Anderson fires it. Kevin Dineen right on the doorstep for the game-opening goal, coming at 7:30 of the second period.
Well, John Anderson just got that puck on the boards. He threw it across. You can see Patrick Roy just slam his goal stick. Kevin Dineen cruising through the crease, just gets a stick on it. You see it coming up here. Watch John Anderson, the top of your screen. He's not in your picture yet. That puck comes around the boards. There's Anderson. Dineen cruising right through that crease. Just extends his arm. Here's another angle. The puck goes around behind the net. Anderson out of your picture right now. There's Dineen, number 11. And he just gets that stick out. This game reminds me a lot of the last game these two teams played in the regular season. Nothing for almost 2 periods, and then Dineen with a sensational individual effort to break the tie 1-0, and then the Whalers 2 quick goals in the third to ice the victory.
Dineen with his 6th goal of the playoffs, his 4th against the Canadiens. Chelios is pressured, gets it away though to McPhee. The outlet to Robinson. Ahead to Boisvert. Boisvert takes the shot, a stay by Liu. Samuelson sends it back to Tippett. Leaves it for Jarvis. Looks for McDermott, and he did not get his stick on it. Roy did on the high pass from Jarvis. Dave Babich and Anderson assist on that goal at 7:30 of the second period. We played 27-30 of scoreless hockey before Dineen gets the Whalers on the board. And here's McPhee trying to wheel around Merzen and does. Francis helps out. Well, you know what has happened to the team that has scored the first goal in each of these games. Here's Samuelson. He's checked by Dahlin. Gets rid of it. Whalers want to change up. Shell Dahlin, watched by Robertson. The pass to Naslund. Smith is pulled down by Bothwell away from the play as Liut goes around to Gavin. He gets away from Dahlin. Gavin gives to Bothwell. And he'll sail it down the ice. No icing as Gavin steams in there against Green. Nice check on Rick Green, but Mike Lawler gets it back on Green's stick. Out to Dahlin to Bobby Smith. Well, the crowd certainly has been lifted here by that goal by Dineen as here comes Evison. Puts it on Turgeon's stick. Lets the shot go wide as he's hammered by Lawler. Gavin digs it in behind the net. Turgeon will battle Lawler. Evison scoots in there for it. Sidesteps the Smith hit. Nice shovel pass. The pass to Samuelson. Saved by Roy. The rebound just dribbled out of the reach of Gavin. He's held in tight by Green. Turgeon's pass deflects to center ice. Quenneville goes to Samuelson. Quenneville tied up with Bobby Smith. Turgeon is bumped out of there by Gainey. He couldn't find Chris Nyland. Samuelson will organize the attack again to Dean Evison. Long drive is gloved by Roy. Handles that shot that was headed wide for Mike Lawler. Big hit by Robertson on Lawler as the Canadiens rolled it back on Liut. He turns it away for Kleinendorst. Gainey in with a pressure. Kleinendorst gives to Bothwell. Back to Kleinendorst. He'll bring it in. Maneuvers on Robinson. Threw it in front. Roy with his stick on it. Nyland chased by Francis. Gets it back though to Robinson. Back to Chris Nyland. Out for Gainey. He's got Carbonneau breaking. The pass though is blocked by Bothwell. The shot by Carbonneau is held off by Liut. He's still got a weak backhander away as Nyland gives to Gainey. Back to Nyland. Couldn't take the pass. Chelios sweeps in for the point. Carbonneau slips it to Gainey. Robertson controls for the Whalers. Gave it up to Chelios. Shooting, and it hit the side of the goal. Carbonneau and Francis dig for it. Ronnie wants a whistle. And he'll get it now as Chelios whacks at Francis with a stick. We've got Nyland and Robertson going at it. And Nyland with an overhand right.
I think these guys get tired of fighting each other.
Robertson going to wrestle Nyland in a better position. John D'Amico and Bob Hodges work them apart. 8:59 to go in the second period, and the Whalers have the lead here, 1-0. Chelios has talked his way into an unsportsmanlike conduct a moment ago as Bob Myers was across making the calls on the fighting majors. Larry Robinson was giving him a stern talking to in front of the Montreal bench. Just to say, hey kid, we don't need this. You've been around. This is your third Stanley Cup playoff. You ought to know by now. And he's still yelling. And Nyland. Talk about cooler heads prevailing. Nyland pulls him into the box.
Into the zoo. Well, I'll tell you, this is a time to make something like that count for the Whalers. You know, certainly you can see Robertson right there. Now, here comes Nyland. He pushes him off. And there's Nyland taking, or Chelios getting a stick in there. He gets an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, but in a 1-0 hockey game, when you talk yourself into a penalty, it certainly could be a crucial time in the game. I don't think one goal is going to hold up in this game. Certainly, the Whalers are going to need more than one, I think, because Montreal is still coming at them.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Turk Broda and Bill Durnan aren't here. Those 1-0 games are very few and far between.
Well, you give a team enough chances, sooner or later your goaltender just can't hold them off forever.
I'm surprised with the opportunities Montreal has had that they haven't put one in, and it shows how well Mike's playing.
Well, Timmy Bothwell just a short while ago, before that little confrontation, made a great play, a 2-on-1 with Bob Gainey and Guy Carbonneau. He blocked Gainey's pass. Carbonneau had about 15 feet of clear ice in front of the net. Had it got through.
Whalers 0 for 1 in the power play. As in the playoffs, they're hitting on 23% efficiency with 7 goals, but really outside of that 9-4 win over Quebec in Game 3, in which they went 4 out of 7, they've been averaging 12.5% in the other 7 games. So the Whalers need to get it cranked up here. They've got the 1-0 lead. Francis gives to Ferraro, and the play is offside.
Well, the one thing the Whalers haven't done is made any lineup adjustments. Even though the power play hasn't been going that well, you've got Sylvain Turgeon, your leading goal scorer, with 45. Number 2 in power play goals with 13 behind Ray Ferrero's team leading 14. And he comes out now, but basically he's only seen the tail end of the power play through most of the playoffs. He comes out right now replacing John Anderson, as does Evanson and Stuart Gavin.
Whalers are also trying to end an 0 for 13 stretch in the power play in this series. Francis, with his pass blocked by Carbonneau, went out to force the point man very well. Carbonneau rolls it back, and Dean Evason will take it. Gainey and Carbonneau on for the Montreal penalty killing unit. Francis gives to Turgeon. Swings in against Gainey. Drop pass comes to center ice, and it's played by Dave Babbage. We have a minute remaining on the Chelios minor for unsportsmanlike conduct at 11:01. Francis bounces it in. Lawler sends it around. Francis can't keep it in. Gainey's all over him. Francis gets it back on Turgeon's stick, in for Gavin. Gavin fights off a check, gives to Turgeon. He can't snap it off against Gainey. Green angles it off the boards by Francis. 34 seconds remaining in the Whaler power play. McPhee and Strudlin come on to try to finish off the penalty for the Canadiens. McPhee almost got it away from Francis. Francis leaves it for Ferraro. He'll drive it in. Kevin Dineen sends it by Anderson. Lawler chips it free. Ferraro said in the pregame that the Whalers would try to go from the points and jam the net. They have not had the opportunity to do that here as Chelios leaves the box. 7 minutes to go, second period. Whalers leading 1-0. That man, Kevin Dineen, has struck again for the Whalers. Ferraro goes to Anderson, and he fans in his shot. Dineen in there for it. Steps around the Ludwig hit. Strudlin plays it back to Robinson. His pass carried off the boards at a crazy angle, but it's recovered by Strudlin. 4-on-3 rush for the Canadiens. Here's Dahlin. Gonna wheel around Merzen. Threw it in front. Ferraro is there to steal. Roy forced to play it. He'll cover it with McDermott on the doorstep. 6:20 remaining, second period. Whalers have a 1-0 lead.
We've taken out of the play a 3-on-2 potential break turned into a 2-on-2.
Into the point, Tim Bothwell, and he was crunched by Bobby Smith. McDermott races to the corner. Jarvis in there as well. Ludwig trying to get a whistle. McDermott keeps things alive. Carbonneau's in there battling him for it. Carbonneau comes out against Jarvis. Tim Bothwell sends it back and left wing to Dave Tippett. He bounces it in wide. Roy leaves it aside for Larry Robinson. Nice pass to Carbonneau. A lead for Naslund. Has no help, and Bothwell was able to poke check him. The warm ice here has got to affect Mats Naslund in this line. Shell Dahlin, a speedster on the right side as well.
Well, they like to handle the puck a lot, and the ice in the condition it is, it's not conducive for a lot of puck handling.
Naslund with a drop pass. Smith leaves it for Robinson. He's forced to center by Evason. Bobby Smith rolls it back into Hartford ice. Here's Naslund cruising in. Kleinador's there to meet him. Naslund cuts right in front. Out to Chelios, shooting. Save by Liut. That net almost came off the magnets, but apparently it's still in place as we continue, and Planadors moves it ahead to tip it. Whalers want a line change. Turgeon comes on. Here's Evason on a steal. It's passed to Turgeon. It's broken up, and Stephane Richer steps back. Turgeon hustles back to take it away. A nice back-checking maneuver by Turgeon, who's playing with those pulled stomach muscles. Dineen is checked by Lemieux. Grudlin hands it to Richer. He had trouble controlling it. And the Canadiens are offside now as Lemieux takes a shot at Evason. And the linesmen get in between them. 4:31 remaining, second period. And the Whalers have the upper hand here, 1-0. Inside as he is dumped by Boisvert. Ludwig with Merzen in for the point. Merzen chopped it off the glass without a play. Now we get Chelios and Dineen jousting. And everyone wants a piece of the action.
It's always the guys about 3 deep that cause all the trouble. It's never anybody in one-on-one. It's when somebody piles in, somebody's trying to take a shot here and there from behind the corridor of players. That all started, Kevin, just giving Chelios a little tap there right after the whistle. You see the play behind the net right there. Chelios reacts. Kevin had just before that game a little tap with the stick. Chelios came back with his own, and that started the commotion as we see everybody getting into the little pushing and shoving that we've seen since the series started. So Dineen goes off.
Kevin's going to the box, and Chelios will join him, the two original combatants. Dineen gets a high sticking call at 16-10. We haven't had an announcement yet on Chelios. It's a pretty good high stick as we'll see him come back.
There it is. There's Chelios' high stick. You can see Dineen come up with a stick originally. He gets high sticking too.
Well, I'm sure the ice is taking its toll with the weather being so warm and that, but this is when the third and fourth lines have to come through. Montreal are sticking with 2 lines most of the time. I think Strudlin's lines played very well, and of course Carbonell's line. But our third line's got to come through with a goal or two. That's the difference in this series right now.
Ronnie Francis out there with Robertson and Wayne Babbage, and they have had some excellent chances. Wayne Babbage with the only close-range shot on net in the first period the Whalers had among their 5 on goal, and Ronnie Francis with an excellent opportunity, just about sneaking one over the left pad of Roy here in the second. Francis shoots, saved by Roy. Green there for the rebound. It's centered by Wayne Babbage, but taken away by Carbonell. Carbonell's pass knocked out of the air by Samuelson. Keeney will start it back to Green. 1-0 Whalers, 3:23 to go in the second. Here comes Robinson. Gives to Nyland, has the shot. And he drives it off the leg of Quenneville. It deflected wide. Samuelson. He is knocked flying on the elbow by Nyland. Delayed penalty upcoming to Montreal. And Roy comes out to handle the puck, and elbowing is the call against Nyland. Not certainly the kind of call you want to take in the offensive zone with 3:03 to go in the second period.
This is where the Whalers really have to get the killer instinct. I mean, a goal at this situation with only there's 3:03 left in the period. If they can score in this power play, they're going to go a long way to winning this hockey game.
Sports Channel and WBCN for another Celtics Appreciation Night at Scotch and Sirloin Restaurant on North Washington Street in Boston. Stop by and watch the game on large screen TV and win great prizes from Sports Channel, WBCN, and Kit Concepts in Braintree. It all takes place during Sports Channel's next Celtics telecast, either Tuesday, April 29th or Wednesday, April 30th at 7:30. Stay tuned for more details.
See the elbow right there. There's no question about it. You can see Nyland just at the end of that check come up with the elbow. This is where you make them pay if you can put one in the net. like I say, I don't think one goal is going to hold up over this hockey game. So the Whalers certainly in an enviable position at getting themselves a little bit of breathing room as this game winds down.
Dave Babbage over to Francis. Lets it go. Saved by Roy. Green taps the rebound to Gainey, but not out. Francis is there. Wheels it back off Turgeon's skates, and Green drives it down the ice. 2:45 remaining here in the second period. 7 shots apiece for the clubs here in the second period as Evason starts it in, organizes to Turgeon, shoots, and it's off the right arm of Roy. Taken by Evason. Watched by Gainey. Dave Babbage goes back to Evason. Turgeon's in the slot. Gavin in the corner will handle it. Back out to Dave Babbage. Across to Francis. Across to Gavin, and he directs it wide. We've got a hooking penalty upcoming. And Bob Myers is going to send, I believe, Dean Evason off here.
Got to be someone on our team.
Turgeon strides to the penalty box.
Looked like he was calling the play in front of the net. You see Francis fake the shot, throws it across, and you can see Stuart Gavin moving in for the shot. Turgeon tying up Lawler in front.
One of them playoff even up calls, maybe.
So in 1:12, Montreal will have 48 seconds of power play opportunity here to close out the second period of play.
That could be a very big momentum shifter right there. If you can hold them off for that little time, be good going into the third period. But on the other hand, if they score,
the tide will turn the other way. Well, we've got a situation where both teams are a man down, so you've got to be wary here as Samuelsson slips it to Anderson. Samuelsson circles back. Richer with a watchful eye on him. Pass across to Quenneville. Back to Samuelsson. Darlene trying to force Samuelsson. The Whalers trying to spread out the ice here. Goes across to Quenneville. Anderson can't deflect it out. Richer comes up with it. His shot is blocked by Quenneville. Ludwig plays it back in. Samuelsson sends it across to his defense partner, Joel Quenneville, with 28 seconds left on the Nyland penalty. The puck rolls all the way back under a wall. Rick Green challenged in there by Ferraro. Craig Ludwig around for Naslund. He's going to love this situation. Richer can move too. Here comes Richer. Going to turn the corner. A nice poke check by Quenneville. Hit his head against the boards, but it looks like he's all right as Gavin moves it out against Richer. Whalers taking a very defensive-oriented posture here in a situation where both teams are a man short. And now it looks like we may see a penalty for too many men on the Canadiens, but let's make sure this time.
You know, the Whalers, one thing they don't want to do, which they did on that last shift, they had the puck, control the puck at center ice. They kept taking it back. They ended up right back behind their own net, and they lost control of it. Montreal got control. It was cleared out of the zone, but anytime you're at center ice, you don't want to take it back to your own end. There's right there, you can see the man coming over the boards got into the play as he got a piece of Stuart Gavin before the player he was replacing got off the ice. Generally, they wouldn't call that if he wasn't involved in the play, or sometimes if the puck hits him, the puck will be shot around the boards, a guy will jump on early, the puck will hit him in the skates or something. If he gets involved in the play before the other guy's off, they'll call it. Other circumstances, they would let it go because it was so close to the bench.
Here comes Lawler
over the bench. Here. You can see right there. He gets involved in the play, and the player he's replacing hadn't got to the bench yet.
Lawler is the culprit. Kordick will serve the bench minor. So the Nyland penalty has expired. Both teams still a man short for another 48 seconds. That takes the Canadiens out of a possible power play. Here's Gavin. Wheels it in front to Evason with a minute to go in the second period. Smith steals it. And so the tide turns on the power play, as instead of the Whalers facing a situation where they would be killing off the rest of the period shorthanded, here's Chelios with a shot, a save by Liut. Now the Whalers are facing the power play in their favor in another 20 seconds. Here's Chelios. Spins around Kleinador's backhander just wide as Evason cut him off of the goalpost. Pass in front for Chelios. He's rocked on a hit by Gavin. Robinson goes to Bobby Smith. Liut got tangled up in a collision. He's back in position as Evason blocks the pass. Naslin wheeling across to Robinson. A great play by Liut. Turgeon back on. Naslin has nowhere to go with it. Whalers in the power play for the 4th time of the game. Bothwell will just send it down the ice.
Well, he's played a very steady game. I think his skating still is hindered a little bit. I think he's not as offensive threat as he'd like to be, but he's playing a steady game and holding the defense together right.
Canadiens gain control as Dave Babbage gets it back again here. Babbage will fire it in. Roy lets it roll away, but Green is belted by Dineen. Kevin comes up with it. There's no stopping Kevin Dineen. Anderson works alongside, and Green gives him a shot. Dineen kicks that puck away. Ferraro back to Dineen. It's poked away by Carbonneau. And he waits before clearing it down the ice. Whalers now at 17 seconds remaining on the power play. Anderson starts it in, goes to Francis. He's checked by McPhee. Skrudlin moves it out. Dave Babbage is back, but Skrudlin taps it away from him. Skrudlin is hooked by Ferraro. The pass is stolen by Anderson. Dineen with Ferraro. Dineen makes his play to Anderson. Penalty's over. Anderson can't get a shot away. Chelios checked him as the Canadiens are back to full strength. Chelios all the way with a shot and a pad save by Liut. John Kordic throws it in front. It's taken away by Kleinador. Out for Gavin. Fakes the drive. Line change going on behind him as he'll send it in. Roy plays it back around for McPhee. Brian Skrudlin with Turgeon charging. Here's Evason. Couldn't work it in front against Ludwig. Gavin hustles to keep the play in the zone. Ludwig clears, though. Kleinador fires it right back in. Chelios watched by Evason. Mats Naslin slips away. He puts it on Ludwig's stick, takes the shot, and it's off the shoulder of Liut. Deflects off the glass and into the crowd with 18:03 remaining in the 3rd period, and the Whalers clinging to a 1-0 lead. And they control it. Tippett moves it by Robinson. Ahead for Gavin. Hooks it in front for Tippett, and Green was there to sweep it away. Tippett moved right through and banged into the goalpost. He is all right. As the Whalers with some quick skating pressure on with Tippett and Gavin.
Well, here's a play coming up here. You can see Dave Tippett just trying to get a stick on the puck. He was concentrating so hard he really lost his location area and was right on top of the goal. But that just shows you in playoffs, people aren't really worried about their own health if they can end up scoring a goal.
Samuelson chips it in. Roy leaves it for Robinson. Out ahead for Smith. Shel Darlene trying to find the puck. It's poked away by Quenneville. Mats Naslin with 3 goals in the playoffs. Long lead for Darlene. He's onside, but he couldn't control it. Quenneville back to Francis. Big drive is off the ankle of Robinson. Gavin kicks it behind the net. Francis trying to scoot out in front of it. It's taken away by Rick Green. Francis holds him up. Green continues on, though. Francis pursuing Rick Green. Smith trying to bounce it in. It hit John D'Amico, the linesman. Naslin puts it on Robinson's stick. The pass is right to Francis. He finds Wayne Babbage on right wing. Roy comes out to handle it. Gave it up to Robertson. To Wayne Babbage. Sets it up for Bothwell. And the shot is wide as Evason was parked to the side looking for the tip in. And Evason curls it out. the side of the net as Robinson takes it. Sends it around for Naslund. Dean Evison has been skating well tonight. Angles it out of the zone, and Lawler flips it right back in. Claude Lemieux fights his way past the check. He's thumped there by Bothwell. Skrudland is tied up with Wayne Babbage. Evison can't get it by Lawler. Richer gives it to Skrudland, and we get the whistle for the hand pass against the Canadiens. 16:13 to go, third period. Whalers still in front by the 1-0 count.
Power play 34 seconds into the third period, so it's now New York Rangers 2, Washington 0. So that line, Ridley, Paymont, and LaRouche, certainly a big factor in this series against the Washington Capitals.
Dana Merzen with a long lead pass. Dineen was hooked as Lawler is back for it. Ferraro in forechecking. The pass to Skrudland, out for Claude Lemieux. Going to cut on Merzen. Lemieux with one hand throws it in front. Lawler in for the point, couldn't handle it. Dineen quickly turns it around. Carbonneau in pursuit. Anderson picks up the rink-wide pass, but he's belted by Lemieux. Here comes Chelios. The pass in front is stolen by Dineen, who snuck in there with a feed intended for Lemieux. Carbonneau rolled it in front. Richer couldn't put it on. There's a shot off the post by Carbonneau. Dana Merzen flips it out of the zone. It hit Gainey. Comes back to Lemieux. It's taken away by Ferraro. He's pulled down by Chelios. They jab at each other as the puck reaches Dineen on right wing. Jarvis is on with McDermott and Tippett. Long pass ahead for Gainey. McDermott and a ride out Bob Gainey. Dave Babbage flips it to the point. It's chopped to center by Jarvis. Robinson comes back. Pass up the middle is off Gainey's stick. Deflects in deep in the Whalers zone. We'll have an icing call against Montreal.
I think the Whalers are going to have to put a little charge on here. I don't like the way this third period is developing. They're sort of on a holding pattern, sitting back, trying to sit on a 1-0 lead. And Montreal have just had too many opportunities over the course of the game. Mike Liut's been great once again, as you'll see. There's Richer shooting, and watch Carbonneau right here coming around the net. Just catches the side of the net. But you know, sooner or later, when they get those type of opportunities, they're going to put one in, and then it's totally going to turn this game around. So I think that what they got to do is, you know, being a little more aggressive. They got to go out looking for goal number 2 here. I think if they get it, then they're in pretty good shape. But sitting on a 1-0 lead, certainly a little bit shaky.
Well, you know what I stated at the end of the second intermission about how we wanted to come out and command the third period, but it's been a complete opposite right now.
Ludwig chipped the puck out of play as he got tangled up with his old college teammate Dave Tippett. Ludwig, a veteran of 2 NCAA championship teams in North Dakota. Tippett was on hand for that second one.
Well, I think when you look at the game right now, the difference between the two teams, I think that Montreal are a bigger hockey team, a little stronger physically, and I think they've used that very effectively tonight. One of the reasons that they've been able to shut down the Whaler offense, and one-on-one battles, they've been winning them.
Greg Ludwig, the unsung hero on the Canadiens, voted to that award for the 3rd time in his 4 seasons with the team. Backhands it in, and Bothwell reaches it. Fell down, poked away by Smith. Centering passes blocked by Francis. Ronnie has not picked up a point yet in this series, but he certainly has contributed a number of fine defensive plays, and that was among them. Robinson to Ludwig. Outlet goal. Anderson shoots, a save by Roy. Roy came out 20 feet to take the angle away there. Bobby Smith trying to turn on Kleinendorf. One hands it in front, and a save by Liut, and a try by Naslund. Just got a piece of it. Larry Robinson, watched by Anderson. Robinson, pressured by Gavin, continues to control that play. Darlene is checked by Bothwell. Dug free by Anderson. Robinson's there with a shot. A pad save by Liut. Naslund couldn't get to the rebound. Francis charges through to tap it away. Anderson lifts it over the line. Robinson wants to start that pressure once again. Ludwig tips it in. Bothwell gives chase. Long lead for Kleinadorf. Right to Ferraro. Drop pass for Dineen. Gives it back to Ray. Dineen cuts by. Gainey right with him. Gainey lands on the puck. Anderson pokes it free to Ferraro. Ferraro to Samuelson. Takes the shot. It's blocked, but comes to Ferraro to Dineen. He shoots, and it's just wide. Carbonneau for Montreal. Long lead for Nyland behind the defense, and it was blocked by Samuelson. Gainey rubs out Dineen with a heavy hit. Kevin comes right back at him. Green lines up Ferraro for the shoulder check. Intensity picking up here early in this third period. With the Whalers leading 1-0. Here's Bob Gainey. Drop pass for Carbonneau, and he whistles it just wide. Gainey trailed by Quenneville. Evison lifts it out of the zone. We'll have an icing call against the Whalers with Chelios coming back. 12:21 to go in the third period. And the Whalers. Bothwell tied up on Lemieux. It's swept on goal. Screwed with a shot, and that hit his teammate in front. Lemieux. Centering pass is poked away by McDermott. Jarvis digs it free. Kept in by Green for Lemieux, who's without a stick. Bothwell trying to freeze that puck. McDermott crunches in there. And we do get the stoppage in play. Now Lemieux trying to take a shot at McDermott.
That's the case where you win the face-off and lost it all at one time. Jarvis did get that puck back in the Whalers zone, but then they lost control of it, and Mike Liu tested once again. I thought he was certainly his teammates tonight making him pay for his few games off here.
Welcome back, Mike.
One scoring opportunity was definitely saved by a Montreal player that was laying in front of the net, and that might have, been the goal to get the Canadiens back in the game. But that Strudel line still keeps a lot of pressure on whoever they're up against. They're doing a fine job up there, but they just can't finish their plays off.
Smith and Jarvis in for the face-off. Jarvis must rely on quickness here. The Whalers control it. Francis starts out. Gavin looks for some skating room. Here's the pass on his stick. Green tries to wrap up Gavin. Chelios picks it up. Misses Naslin as Bothwell hands it to Kleinadorf. He sweeps it out by Gavin. Chelios gathers it in. 1-0 Whalers on the goal at 7:30 of the second period. Kevin Dineen is sixth for the playoffs, fourth of the series. Here's the pass in for Tippett, and it's blocked by Chelios. Bobby Smith. Quenneville knocks down the pass. It's right back on the big 6'4" centerman stick. Chelios lets it go. Liut leaves it for Kleinadorf. That pass hit a corner of the boards and came right back to him. Francis with a nice move by McPhee. Tippett lost control. Robinson finds the handle. Ferraro there to meet him. Robinson slips it off Gainey's stick. Quickly it's Quenneville back, but Robinson got in position to steal. Robinson to Nyland, shooting, deflected wide by Quenneville. Robinson will take the drive, and that's blocked by Ferraro. 3-on-2. Ferraro with Anderson as the trailer. Back to Ferraro. It's blocked at the defense by Mike Lawler. And we get a hand pass whistled against the Canadiens. 10:43 to go in the third period. It's still 1-0 Hartford over Montreal.
Sending for Dave Tippett and Stewie Gavin. Now he sends out the Ferraro-Anderson Dineen line. It looked like for a second that he was going to have Stewie Gavin, Dean Evison out there with Torrey Robertson. But he's changed his mind, sending out the Ferraro line. Bobby Carpenter has scored for Washington. That on the power play also, so it is now Rangers 2, Washington 1.
Richer is dumped on the hit by Samuelson. Lemieux runs into Samuelson. Strudel moves away with a puck. On a fake Merzen. Ferraro back checking alone. It's Lemieux! Save! He just could not lift that puck. More than any other Canadian, Claude Lemieux has had the golden opportunities tonight, and Liut foiled him on another chance. Ferraro lets it go to Merzen, tapped away, and here's Strudel. Richer's with him. As Skrudland overskates the puck, he was looking at Richer, and it rolled right off his stick. 10 minutes to go, third period. Whalers up 1-0, thanks to Mr. Liut. Keeney with Samuelson just standing in his way. Bothwell is tied up by Carbonneau. Evison moves it to Robertson. Corey fires it out to the waiting Wayne Babbitt. Evison directs it in. He'll harry that Montreal defense. Chelios quickly turns it out to Gavin. Nyland missed the pass. He'll reorganize the rush as Chelios lets it go to the line. It's tapped to center by Carbonneau. Bothwell across to Scott Kleinadors. To Wayne Babbitt. Green battles him. Babbitt with a pass taken away by Carbonneau. Regained by Kleinadors. Chelios has it for Montreal. He's held up by Evison. Tippett burrows in there along the boards, and we get the stoppage in play with 9:06 to go in the third period. Mike Liut and the Whalers leading 1-0.
Well, if you had to pick one save in the game that Mike Liut has made, I'll tell you, this is the one on Claude Lemieux. Watch him follow him across. Then he just stacks those pads as forced Lemieux to go wide on the play, and what a save that was. Of course, he had many more like that for a while earlier.
Boisvert in front is checked by Samuelson. Tippett works it out to center ice. Rick Green back for Serge Boisvert. Played hockey in Japan for a year. As the puck is deflected back to Liut, and he'll cover it up.
Whalers getting a little sloppy in their own end, and they look a little tired. They look like they're tiring here in the third period. Montreal seemed to have a little more bounce in this third period than the Whalers. I don't know whether it's the ice conditions taking a little steam out of them or what, but you know, when you start to get tired physically, you start to get tired mentally, and that's when the mistakes come in.
Well, it's always tough when the team's, you know, behind and they know they can clinch it. They'd rather clinch it now so they can rest up. So they're coming on strong, and Whalers are laying back a little bit. They should try to concentrate on handling the puck to center and throwing it in again. Try to let the defenseman carry it up and block up the middle of the ice.
Chris Chelios rolls it in. Bothwell with a good hit on Boisvert as Naslund slips it to Boisvert. Out to Green. Long wrist shot is wide. Bobby Smith was trailed by Jarvis. Jarvis with a good grip on him. The shot by Boisvert is blocked by Kleinadors, and here comes Gavin. Cuts in on Green. Green blocked the pass. Gavin slips out in front. Shoots, and Green blocked it. Francis picks it up. Can't get a shot away. Francis back to Tippett. He left it. Chelios is in there for it. Hands to his partner Green with 8 minutes to go in the third period. Naslund hustles it across that line. It's just swept run off his stick by Quenneville. Dave Babbage gets it to Dineen. Takes the hit. That allows Francis to move it out. Francis reunited with Anderson and Dineen. Anderson shoots. A glove save by Patrick Raw.
Well, I don't know whether he made that harder than it was. It was a long way out, but certainly the way he snapped that thing out there, that was really one of the complaints they had about him coming out of training camp. He tried to make everything look difficult. Anderson a long way out. A great save from appearance sake. Now, only if you had a look at it from behind the net, you see if it's that tough. There it is. We do get a look at it. Well, he had to get out there pretty good. They talked about him coming out of camp, and they tried to tell him, hey, make the routine saves look routine. Don't try and make every save look like a game saver.
He surely does have a great glove hand.
He doesn't mind showing it to you.
Well, that's for sure.
Whalers forced back to center. Dave Babbage bounces it to Quenneville. He'll drive it in. Larry Robinson lifts it right back out. Dave Babbage back up the middle to Ferraro. And the play's whistled outside with Anderson at the bottom of your screen beating the play. 7:28 to go. Third period. Our score, the Whalers 1. Montreal 0. Evison with him. Leads him too far. Evison cuts around Ludwig. Hands to Robertson. Centers. Lead Babbage. Stands on it. Second time is wide. Samuelson in for the point. Carbonneau relieves the pressure. He goes to old reliable Larry Robinson. He cuts out against Wayne Babbage. Robinson angles it to Carbonneau. Sails it in for Nyland. Has Gainey in front. Quenneville takes him. Samuelson wraps up Nyland. Carbonneau slips through. Cuts in front. Can't get a shot away. Quenneville right there to Montreal. Francis bounces it through center ice. Chelios gave it up to Tippett. Wheels around him. Tippett just cannot turn the corner. And he's belted by Chelios. Wayne Babbitt gave it right back to Chris Chelios. Chelios trying to recover from that momentary lapse is dumped by Bothwell. He lands on the puck. Bob Myers says, let's halt play for the draw in the Hartford zone.
Well, what an opportunity Wayne Babbage had. He's had some good scoring opportunities all through the series, but you know, when you get pressing, it's like he just can't seem to handle the puck. It's jumping over a stick, or he's rushing it or whatever, and watch this hit by Samuelson. Nyland sort of left his feet just before it. Dolphy getting that hip in here. Here's another one by Joel Quenneville. I'll tell you, when these guys are taking each other out, they're doing it for keeps.
Some great solid checks tonight. They'll be feeling it tomorrow.
Dolphy Samuelson, who put in some time with the Swedish Army before he joined the Whalers. Thinking of that, it kind of reminds me of Bill Murray in Stripes.
He must have been training for guerrilla warfare.
Imagine Dolphy in the Army.
Dolphy.
Off the face-off, loose puck in front. Strudlin is dumped by Jarvis. Worked out by Ferraro. Rick Green comes back. Dineen with a heavy hit. Robinson sends it off Lemieux's skates. Richer hands it right to Anderson. Now we got Richer hammering Kevin Dineen, and they're both going to get penalties. Bothwell wants to get a hold of Richer, and he's held out of there. Now we've got Dineen and Richer away from the pack. Everyone's concentrated on the others. Now they start pushing and shoving. Richer tugging at Dineen. Whalers certainly don't need Kevin Dineen off for the closing moments of this game, as happened in Game 5, as Bothwell continues to joust with Brian Strudlin. We've got Kleinadors and Lemieux paired off. Anderson trying to hold Big Larry Robinson out of there. Well, Bothwell and Strudlin continue to wrestle as Dineen and Richer are deposited into the penalty boxes.
Well, John D'Amico is out there. You can, I'll tell you one thing, when you get in a fight, the last guy you want to get hold of you is John D'Amico, because he's so strong, and if the other linesman doesn't get hold of the other guy as well as John, you could be in trouble, because once he gets you tied up, you don't move.
John likes to throw his weight around in there. He likes to show who is the boss, which they should do, but as you said, one guy can be so stronger than the other guy, which in this case D'Amico is.
Well, Ronnie Asseltine also is one of the stronger linesmen. But like I say, if you get a guy like D'Amico, when he gets a hold of you, it's like you're in a vice. The other guy doesn't tie up your combatant friend. You could get a few in the shots before you, while your hands are pinned to your, like somebody put handcuffs on you. And you can see it right there at the top of the screen. You can see Dineen catch Richer with a stick. And there it is again. You can see Richer. It looks like he caught the butt end of his glove or his stick catching Dineen in the face. Kevin's nose looks a little red there.
Now, Kevin will head to the dressing room with 5:36 to go here in the third period. We'll wait for the call from Bob Myers. For a complete wrap-up of all the day's racing at Suffolk Downs, join us tonight immediately following the Whalers game, only on Sports Channel. He might have just an equipment problem. Skip Cunningham, the assistant trainer, heads off toward the dressing room.
Well, the sweater was all pulled down. His shoulder pads might have got pulled off, but rather than delay the game, they sent him to the penalty box. He's going to be in there for a while anyway. They sent him to the dressing room to get fixed up.
Well, this more or less, I think, goes into good hands for Hartford. They're slowing the play down. Montreal's had a very strong third period, and this is going to slow them down a little bit and give the Whalers a rest, a much-needed rest, because they were definitely lagging back in their own end zone. And luckily enough, Montreal haven't finished their plays off.
Well, they look a little... Listen to the penalties. So Deneen and Richer get 2 minutes each for roughing.
Double minors to Strudlin and Bothwell. Charging and roughing the Bothwell high, sticking and roughing to Strudlin. And the home fans aren't too happy with that. Jean Perron looks on, and since we got 5:36 boys, Juan LaRose is not happy at all.
Todd puts on a great show behind the bench.
Well, you got to watch you don't put on too good a show and take a bench minor here. That's the last thing you need. 5:36 left. You don't need to give Montreal a power play advantage. What the Whalers have to do now is they've just got to be smart here, be cool, get up, get over center ice, gain the center ice zone, and just throw it in deep. Don't try and get fancy and get caught. And if they do forecheck and get in, don't throw a blind pass out in the slot, because you can get caught. Keep everything in deep. If you're in doubt, just dump it in behind the Montreal net. Then you can get back out and pick up a man. And Mike Liut, anytime Montreal putting any pressure on, he should take every face-off he can. Just stop play, break any momentum Montreal might get going here.
The Whalers lose Deneen and one of their better defensive defensemen there, Tim Bothwell.
I was going to say, on the other hand, Montreal lose 2/3 of their most effective line, too, which is definitely going to hurt them.
Quenneville drives it in. Roy leaving it for Chelios. Gavitt is on with Francis and Tippett. That unit was put together here in the third period by Jack Evans. It's lifted out by Green. Quenneville strides after the puck. Smith with Naslin and Boisvert. Pretty quick wingers out there for Smith, but Tippett challenges Chelios. Shoots! And it's deflected over top of the goal. Francis keeps the play in. Gave it though to Bobby Smith. He rolls it out to Naslin. Boisvert will dump it in with under 5 minutes remaining. Samuelson has some time. Makes his pass to Francis. Tippett sweeps it the rest of the way down the ice for Ferraro. Anderson, McDermott taking Deneen's spot. That's the line on for the Whalers as McDermott with a big hit on Naslin. Anderson to Ferraro, shooting, and he sails it over the head of Roy. Naslin checked by McDermott again. Naslin gets it by McDermott. It's taken by Dave Babbage. 1-0 Whalers in front with 4.5 to go. Ferraro to Anderson, shooting off the glove of Roy. Comes to Ferraro. McDermott mishandles the pass. He's checked by Green as Naslin hands it away to Anderson. John Anderson cuts in front, has the hook on him from behind. McDermott trying to slip it to Ferraro, and Green stood in the way. Back comes Chris Nyland. Nyland waits for some help. Here comes Geedy. He's got Smith in front. The pass to Nyland. He's in. He fails on the shot. Robinson to Lawler, who missed the pass. Anderson ties up Lawler. Dave Babbage carries in to Ferraro on the backhand. Ferraro to Robertson. He's checked by Nyland. Wayne Babbage thumped there by Lawler. Robertson with a heavy hit on Lawler. Nyland with 3.5 to go. Over to Mike Lawler. Quenneville with his furious pace late in this third period, dumping it in. Lawler's back. Around to Lemieux, out for Carbonneau. McPhee springs into the zone. He's checked there by Quenneville. Centered. Robinson couldn't get the shot away as Lemieux put it right on his stick. Quenneville wheels it back around for Wayne Babbage. He will take the icing call. Chelios is back, and the whistle blows for the big face-off upcoming in the Hartford zone with 2:51 to go.
You got to be careful about that. It caught the corner board and came out. It was pretty close.
That was right on the line. It's hard to see it right here, but then it came back on the angle.
But if you're going to make a play, just dump it easy off the boards and out. You can't afford to give up any more face-offs than they're called for. Look at that save on Anderson by Roy. Just gets the top of his glove on, pops it up over the net. And Larry Robinson all over in front. Wow. I'll tell you, all of a sudden, excitement at both ends.
Well, Chris Dylan had a great chance there, but he couldn't get a handle on it. I'm not going to say anything about that.
Puck was square. Here's Nyland here. Here's the start of it. He dumps it wide. Then he falls up. Nobody picks him up going to the net. See Gainey give it to him right here. Whoops.
Needed a goalie stick to shoot that one.
Now Dineen comes back. He will head to the penalty box. He's due on with about 1:16 to go in the third period, or the first whistle after. Pardon me, 3:26. His penalty's expired as he had the single minor, not the double minor. So Kevin Dineen goes to the bench. He's eligible for duty.
It's a little bit of an ovation, doesn't he?
Those the fans appreciate his hockey so far.
I think they noticed the return. Chelio shoots it. It's tipped by Kleinadorst. Gavin takes the hit. There's a shot on goal by Lemieux and a save by Lemieux. Babbage rolls it up. Tippett's back as Chelios gets it back to McPhee. In for Robinson with 2.5 to go. Chelios out for Smith. McPhee will give chase. Kleinadorst with him. McPhee leaves it for Robinson. Canadiens gambling here, trailing 1-0 in the late going. They are looking for the tying goal as it's sent down the ice by Kleinadorst. Chelios for the Whalers on a line change. Robinson shoots. Save by the youth. Big pad save there. Chelios rolls it in behind. Nobody home. Samuelson has tied up Gainey. It's lifted out by Dineen. Here comes Anderson from a sharp angle. Save by Roy. The rebound in the goal mouth. Roy covers it up as Dineen charges through there. Now Roy trying to take a punch at Dineen, who went until he heard a whistle.
Well, you know, Kevin's not going to let up on that play. I thought that was going to look like that was going to be an offside pass. John D'Amico had his arm out. It looked like when John Anderson touched it, it was going to be called. But all of a sudden, it was like, you see it, it's dumped up here. Anderson cutting across. It looked like he was behind the line, but D'Amico had the arm out for the call, and then everybody sort of held up. I think the Canadiens thought it was going to be an offside pass. Anderson kept going to net. Watch Dineen right here. He's just going to drill Roy right into the net. Figures number 33 hits the back of the twine. The puck's got to be underneath him somewhere for a goal.
Well, there's a definite case to never stop the play when, even though you think it's going to be something.
There it is again. You can see it loose. Roy gets his hand on it, but Dineen was a split second behind him. You can see Roy come out with a blocker.
Those blockers are deadly weapons. Boy, they ever hurt.
Chelios thought Roy had it, and obviously Roy thought Chelios had it.
Here's a save on Larry Robinson, a high-rising slapper. You can see Lemieux just straightening up, gets a piece of it, just enough to deflect it wide. .149 left here in the third period. Anderson, Ferraro, Dineen remain out there with Quenneville and Samuelson. Now Tippett comes off the bench. And he will spell John Anderson. We'll have a wholesale change up front with Evason and Wayne Babbage coming on.
And now the faceoffs get very, very important no matter where they are. Montreal wants control of that puck so they can get the extra attacker on in the next, say, 20, 30 seconds. So even a faceoff in their own end becomes very important so they can control the puck and maybe get it over center and throw it in.
As we see the end of the Ranger game as Evason trying to move in right off the faceoff. The Rangers beat the Capitals and eliminate them 4-2 in the Patrick Division Final. Samuelson sails it around. Carbonneau is hit by Tippett. Gainey sends it in behind, and Samuelson in there for it. So the winner of this series will play the Rangers. And the Whalers want to force the 7th game to take their crack at the Rangers. They need this one tonight. They've got 1:18 remaining in regulation time. They lead it 1-0. As Gainey flips it in, Kleinadorst jams it off the boards and out. Here comes Kevin Dineen. Ross still in net. Dineen, nice move on Green. Inside out, and he couldn't pull it off. Green takes him to the boards. Has one with a minute to go. Long lead, and Kleinadorst got his stick on it. Back to Dave Babbage. Angles it to Dineen. He'll send it the rest of the way. Anderson, Gavin. They're on with Glenville and Samuelson. Anderson still in the zone. Evison rolls it in behind. This crowd is going absolutely nuts. Green hands to the Carbonell with 35 seconds to go. Lawler steps ahead. It's tough. Behind the Whaler defense by Carbonell. Recovered by Samuelson. Drives it out. Ball has gone to the bench. Chelios the extra man. Here comes Robinson. Larry Robinson stick handles in, and the play brought back to the offside. I don't think any of the players heard it.
Oh, here we go. Opie giving Lawler a shot. But I don't know if you noticed, but Carbonell was stuck in front of the net. It's all Samuelson.
Now we've got Sprudlin coming out of the penalty box as he and Bothwell join the battle after their minors have expired, double minors. Lemieux is down after the shot from Samuelson with 20 seconds to go.
Well, what happened there on the offside, Opie was holding Carbonell's stick in front of the net, and he wouldn't let him go, and Robinson was carrying the puck up, and with Carbonell not being able to come out, that's what drew the offside. Carbonell just left his stick with Opie and tried to get out, but a good play on Opie's part. You know they're not really not going to call anything at this time of the game, but after the play had ended, that's when Lemieux came over to Opie, and Opie gave Lemieux a good shot in the kisser. Good French job of acting, though. You know those guys.
Now Samuelson will get the penalty, and we'll have a look at it. Check on the right side of your screen. They're tangled up. Boom.
Opie gets a good right in there. Then he does the turtle.
Now the Whalers, it appears, are going to be short-handed here for the final 20 seconds. A 5-minute penalty's up on the board. Let's see if they count that down to 2. Of course, if the Whalers kill off the final 20 seconds, it doesn't matter a bit. But in 20 seconds, stranger things have happened. Spearing in a game misconduct, a major for spearing in a game misconduct. So that's it for all four. Now we have some debris, certainly not as much as we had thrown out on the ice the other night, which is certainly good to see. Whalers want to get this thing over with.
Well, it must have been pretty evident. I didn't really see it, but I'm sure the linesman had something to say with it, too. Being behind the whistle, you know, sometimes your back's to it, but they must have really seen that because they wouldn't call such a harsh penalty.
20 seconds to go. The time you got to turn the other cheek. No matter what anybody else did to you. Your team has to win this game to stay alive in the playoffs. You got to take one for the club.
True. Well, the good thing about it is the faceoff's outside of the blue line, which it's going to be hard for them to get control and move it in and get a good play set. If it was in there, if it was in Hartford's zone, it would be a little bit different story with Carbonell taking the draws and doing so well on them.
You see the story. 20 seconds remaining. It'll be a 6-on-4 skater situation. Lemieux is all right. And will come out to work the power play. Carbonell, of course, will take the face-off. Smith is up front with Lemieux. Naslin is on. Chelios and Robinson will back him up. Tippett and Gavin are out with Bothwell and Kleinendorf. Ronnie Francis bargain and perhaps stall a bit more here. Myers is telling Lemieux, pointing toward the bench as if he's got to go back there, and it looks like he does.
Yes, if he's injured, he does.
Ronnie Francis right on top of the situation there. That's what he was looking for.
Well, with the chances Lemieux had tonight and the opportunities he's missed, I don't know if I'd want him out there either, but looks like Dave Tippett's going to take this face-off.
Well, the kid does have 3 power play goals and 5 in the playoffs, so he's had his problems the last couple of nights, but
he's had some golden opportunities tonight. He would have salted the game away very early.
Chelios is the wide man. He'll flip it in. Kleinendorf's the first man back, chops it away. Chelios into the point with 12 seconds. Gavin digs it away, rolls it slowly down the ice. Step Tippett racing with Naslund. 5 seconds. Tippett wins the race. That is going to do it. The Hartford Whalers